Letting us brighten your day as you get ready for what's ahead in your life.
That's right. From coast to coast, the Weather Channel is here to help you prepare for the big events happening where you're headed.
Yeah, so right now we are talking about rain. Now, one region that needs rain is not getting any, and that is the West, where we've got more than 200 wildfires that are burning right now. So many scenes like this. This is from Verdi, Nevada.
On and on we go, right? The pattern is kind of stuck, and it's not bringing in any weather systems to the west that would bring the rain. It's going to be a while.
You don't really expect anyway in summer, you know?
This time of year, it's kind of expected, but we could use a break.
We could. I mean, at least some humidity. Give us something in the west. We'll talk more about what's happening here and what's going to be sort of for or against the firefight. Today's big deal, though, takes us to the tropics. Concerns that come with these big clusters of storms. Now, Busch Stadium in St. Louis might be fairly empty this week. Obviously, it's empty right now. The Cardinals are playing in Cincinnati, but the seats and streets could get an unwanted washing as heavy rain looks to surround the bases in the central U.S. We do have these overnight clusters of storms in a very summer-like fashion that are going to happen night after night. Obviously, this morning's weather from the overnight storms bringing us some big rain. That's tracking over through parts of Kansas. We're going to see in central and southern Missouri areas getting 3 to 5 inches of rain. Now, this is through Friday morning, and it's not just from what we're dealing with now, but it's actually for what else is to come. We have at least a couple of inches of rain across central and southeastern Missouri. Widespread areas of 1 to 2 inches, pockets of 2 to 3. I won't say pockets. That's pretty widespread as well. 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, and then areas of 3 to 5. Now, what Greg was talking about with that cluster of storms we're dealing with, that rain has been coming down with some pretty intense rate, leading to the risks of flash flooding. That's what we'll worry about when we get to tomorrow night's, or I guess I should say tonight's thunderstorms that track into tomorrow morning. So possible flash flooding. Again, Kansas City down through Springfield. We got to watch out for that. And, you know, keeping an eye on some of those storms that pop in the afternoon in Colorado. They may not be severe, but they may bring some quick, heavy downpours. Not everyone will get them, but if you do, you have to be ready for that risk of flash flooding. Then tomorrow to Thursday, we do have a front that's tracking in. It's going to bring a more widespread area of rainfall. We could see possible flash flooding then, and that'll be tracking east as we get through the end of the week into the early part of the weekend. Scattered showers and storms popping in Colorado. We'll see that later today. Then overnight, a cluster of storms likely. We'll get a chance for rainfall, some heavy at times. And then again, watching that front tracking east. Now this becomes a focus for a little farther north to the upper Midwest here, Minnesota, Minneapolis. Here comes your rain. It could be heavy at times. Greg?
Well, communities that got swamped. That's like waterspout capital of the world. Pretty much.
Where is the Great Lakes?
The Great Lakes are really good.
They have a lot of water spouts.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
All right. Well, another really cool sight. Astronauts got to see this absolutely amazing view of the aurora.
Nature is an artist, I think.
And this was advertised. You know, there was the chance of it. There was a geomagnetic storm, and last night and the night before, decent options, and people saw it.
I missed it.
Well, and not for us.
Not for us.
Yeah.
But I missed when it was for us. Remember back earlier in the summer?
Yeah.
Like I went out to, I missed it. I couldn't see it. I was like, I missed it by an hour. I think it was just a timing thing.
But maybe you could have been ready to go up to Rochester, New York and,
I blew it.
And see it.
I blew it.
Well, send your comments on social media and share your pics and video with us using the hashtag YesTV.
Well, travelers headed to the Rockies.
Evacuation orders are still in effect as the so-called Gold Ranch fire burns across Nevada. The wildfire sparked Sunday, not far from Reno. It has burned more than 650 acres and is only 8% contained. Nevada Energy shut off lines near the fire shortly after ignited, leaving thousands of customers in the area without power. The weather can play a crucial role in the spread of wildfires. Meteorologist Mike Bettis explains.
A rampant
And we've had some really hot conditions this year, leading to that low humidity, which has, of course, led to what we've been dealing with. You look at where we are this year in 2024 with more than 800,000 acres burned in California. About half of this is actually from, more than half, is from the Park Fire, which is our 4th largest fire in state history. Much more than last year, much more than average. It has definitely been a very stressful year for firefighters. There's more than 27,000 firefighters and support personnel that are working on the fires across the whole West. And of course, this Park Fire is a significant one with 429,000 acres burned. It is 39% contained, so that's up slightly from yesterday. There are red flag warnings out there. Firefighters are concerned about some of the dry west winds that are coming in, which may actually make existing fires more active. And of course, always worried about new fires as well. You're watching this zone here from Oregon into Idaho. One of the concerns is that there could be a couple of thunderstorms that fire up without a lot of rain, and that lightning, the dry lightning, could spark new fires as well. Plus the smoke, and looking at some of the smoke emissions out there affecting us in the Boise area, Portland, even if it's not all the way down to what's affecting your breathing, you feel it, you certainly can see it up there, up in the sky, just literally clouding your view. We have smoke emissions across a lot of interior Washington. The Seattle area has been dealing with some smoke from time to time, and the air quality alerts here continue to be in effect, a lot of them until further notice, especially across parts of Oregon. We've got around Burns, Oregon, Bend, Oregon, down through Medford. Spots that are very popular summer vacation areas have been dealing with a rough summer out here with, if it's not the fire threat, it's the wildfire smoke, which has been affecting you as well. So when it comes to smoke impacts, stay indoors if possible. Use N95 or P100 respirators outdoors. If you're driving, making sure that you're setting that AC on recirculate so you're not bringing outside air in, and pay attention to those local advisories. Conditions can change, and you might go from it being okay to be out and about to air quality really dropping quickly, and you really want to make sure you're staying inside with perhaps the air purifier that is continuing to be on. Well, wildfires have burned millions of acres across the U.S. in recent years, and the damage left behind can impact the area in more than one way. Tomorrow, we'll dive into the science behind burn scar flooding. Here's a sneak peek. Well, thanks to our virtual view technology, I'm standing in Pittsburgh, where clouds will eventually give way to rain and storms at the end of the week. And heavy downpours could lead to some, ponding or localized flooding. The Pirates are hosting the Mariners for a 3-game weekend series starting on Friday, so let's keep an eye on that. This is not a good look for that. We have showers and storms on Friday, on Saturday, and Sunday. Things are kind of slow moving with this front as it comes in and keeps us in a couple of days of these storm chances. Temperatures topping out about 80 degrees. So let's use the upper level energy as a way to show you what's coming our way. That's tracking east as we get into the end of the week and then the weekend. So here comes this weekend in the Northeast. Here comes the front. You can see that how those two kind of correlate to each other. There's the low pressure moving over the Great Lakes. There's our fronts, the cold front, the warm front. Will be in that warm sector in Pittsburgh, at least for part of the weekend, but there'll be storms out ahead of it. There'll be storms along it. And it's a pretty rainy forecast, actually, from the upper Midwest, parts of the Mississippi Valley into the Northeast, with rain coming into areas that just got some big rain. Remember in Pennsylvania from Debbie, we picked up some big rain here. This is over the past 7 days what we've seen from Northern Virginia up through central Pennsylvania into central New York State. We had significant rain up over 3 to 6 inches. And now we bring in more rain. So there is that concern for flash flooding. Friday to Saturday, mainly Friday morning to Saturday morning, the area to watch is going to be somewhere from Michigan to Pennsylvania down into northern Georgia. Then Saturday to Sunday, it's much more here focused on the Northeast, and it's in Pennsylvania, a lot of the state, actually, New York State, areas that just saw rain last week from what was post-tropical Debbie, now getting more rain again. It's a bird, it's a plane, or out in a boat, you want to go the other way.
Yeah, and sometimes they are attached to thunderstorms that produce tornadoes essentially over water. But sometimes there's some other factors that get these things going. You get these kind of weak boundaries that can set up, and air that starts rising and air that starts rotating. So we should talk about how water spouts form. These sort of I won't call them benign. They're benign if you don't get into them, but they're generally on the weaker side. But these converging winds can start encouraging rising air. If you have some sort of area of weak rotation like this suggests with these converging winds, you can tighten up that like a skater bringing in the arms.
Right. It gets stretched.
It gets stretched, and you can spin things up. And then if you get pulled upward a little bit underneath a cumulus cloud, well, like that, you can get some water spout action. And so water spouts form from the water up, actually. I know you're looking up, you're like, is that going to drop a water spout? Well, keep your eye on the water, actually. Right, you'll see the spray get kicked up, and that's oftentimes a sign that the circulation is right at the ocean surface. Yeah, it's beginning. So when you see these water spouts out there, the rising air stretching into the vertical, and then you're going to start see everything sort of connect from These
bottom
are
to top.
right, and these are some of the same processes that create our big-time tornadoes over the continent. But there are some other factors here that make it clear there's somewhat a distinction. They can oftentimes happen in fair weather with some small little non-precipitating cumulus clouds.
Right, so you have the fair weather kind or the supercell kind. You know, those are the kind of things most people are familiar with when it comes to big tornadoes. The Great Lakes, prolific waterspout. I won't say producers, but location.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this distribution of when they maximize, when they're most often observed. And that's when the water is probably the warmest, right, over the Great Lakes. And yet in fall, you start to get some colder air aloft. So some of that instability is playing a role, I think, in the distribution here of how frequent they are.
It's like a day where you might have those instability clouds, and that instability that's helping create those clouds could actually help create some water spouts.
Yeah.
We might see them end of this week and the weekend, because we're going to get that upper level low that moves right over, and that may help spawn a few water spouts. So
time to go spout watching, spout spotting.
Maybe that's going to be on your answer to our question of the day.
Yes, maybe so. How about that? Let's get to it.
Yeah, we're asking you today, would you plan a vacation to try what's ahead in your life?
Right, from coast to coast, the Weather Channel, of course, has you covered. And one of the bigger stories right now is obviously Ernesto. It is impacting our neighbors in the Caribbean. And soon, this afternoon and evening, pretty significant weather moving through Puerto Rico.
Yes, we're going to look at that here momentarily. But we're also focusing on a region that is not getting any rainfall, and that is the West, where more than 200 wildfires are burning right now, including this one in Nevada. You can see a plane out there going through this, probably doing a drop. I mean, just smoke, the smoke and the fires. The smoke is extending, of course, well beyond where the fires are, so many more people are impacted.
You mentioned something really good the last hour, that it is summertime, and in the West, oftentimes we dry out. You see ridging take place. Weather systems, rainy ones, don't typically move in. We could use that right now. Clearly, we need a break in this pattern.
Yeah, I know. At least some humidity, something. Give us something. Now, today's big deal does take us to the tropics. Get ready for what's ahead in your life.
Well, from coast to coast, the Weather Channel is here to help you prepare for the big events happening where you are headed.
Now, we are talking about rain, but one region that needs rain is not getting any. That's, of course, in the West, where more than 200 wildfires are burning right now, including here in Nevada.
This is fire season, unfortunately, in the West. And when you have fires without any signs of relief of the jet stream changing, bringing in rainy systems into the region.
Just some humidity,
Humidity, we need it. We're not getting it.
We're not getting it.
No.
Well, today's big deal takes us to the tropics, where tropical storms